This episode of the Party Loaded podcast is proudly sponsored by Audible.com. Check out their awesome catalogue of audiobooks with over 180,000 titles to choose from. And be sure to grab a free audiobook on us and support the show by visiting audibletrial.com/endgame.
Let's party.
So, did you guys see that on this YouGov.co.uk site, there was this controversy around the fact that they polled a whole bunch of Brits, and it was 5,457 UK adults were questioned on the 5th of December, and the question was, do you consider a movie that takes place at Christmas time but is not about Christmas itself to be a Christmas movie? And the answer was just over 50% in the no category. So they've written this big article about the fact that they reckon that Die Hard is now officially not a Christmas movie. Thoughts?
Was like 40% for Buddy McBoatface.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. I was looking at some tweets by our friend Luke Lancaster, and he had a really good answer to this one, which I thought sort of was along the Christmas lines perfectly. And I may have copied it verbatim and chucked it on Facebook because it was so accurate. It was, he says, it's about getting out of the office in time for the holidays. It's about the pitfalls of rampant greed and getting one up on a callous businessman who is trying to ruin the true meaning of Christmas. So therefore it is a Christmas movie.
Does it have a Christmas tree in it?
I'm positive it does. I'm almost certain.
There you go.
Does someone say Merry Christmas?
Yeah, I'm sure that they do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, then yeah. Whatever. I don't care. Christmas movie is whatever movie that you watch at every Christmas time.
Can confirm
National
multiple Christmas
Lampoon's
trees in Die
Christmas
Hard.
Vacation.
Nice. Vindicated.
Muppets Christmas Carol.
Muppets Christmas Carol.
Nightmare Before Christmas.
No cheeses for us, Mises.
Gremlins. Yeah, Gremlins is a Christmas movie.
Batteries not included. Isn't that at Christmas time? Maybe not. The little tiny robots. So cute.
I do not know.
Deadpool.
I know that one.
Totally a Christmas movie.
Also,
What?
Valentine's Day, International Women's Day.
Yeah. Anyway, it is Video Games Day, so it is time to start our final show for the year. This is Party Loaded. It is Wednesday, the 20th of December, 2017. 2017 being a big year, and being a big year that we're going to be talking about a whole bunch tonight. So my name's Luke. I'm joined, as per usual, by the crew. We have Mimo. Hello.
Hello.
We have Jam.
Hola!
We have Ollie.
Hello.
All right, everyone's a little slow tonight, but that's okay. We have plenty of time to talk about all of the good stuff. So yeah, big Christmas sort of week, big final episode for the year before we take a break and catch up on maybe some of our piles of shame, perhaps, maybe, we'll see. Or we could just all get sucked into a game that we've played a million hours of before and do the same thing we do every Christmas and New Year's. What do you think, team? Is that likely to happen again? All right, what was that game last year?
Highly likely. Yeah.
Wasn't it
Signs are
7 days
good.
to die?
Oh, yes,
Yeah,
it was. That was
last
a huge
Christmas.
binge
New
last year. That was a good time.
Wasn't
Yeah.
it Don't Starve?
That was the year
I
before, I
can't
think.
remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Minecraft the year before
And
that,
I
I'm pretty
think
sure.
the year before that was Minecraft, yeah.
What will
Well,
it be
there you
this
go.
year? Maybe Gang Beasts.
Destiny.
Who knows? That actually came out this week, apparently. So,
Ooh.
yes. Our January party game of the month is out this week, so it's actually going to be pretty recent by the time that we actually chat about it.
It's got a festive pack.
Oh,
You
really?
can be Santa. Yeah.
Interesting. Festive pack on release. That's probably good planning. Anyway, gaming. What has everyone actually been playing this week? So we've probably had a fairly busy week of gaming for a change leading up to the holidays. So, Ollie, let's throw to you first because you've been catching up on some of the Destiny 2 stuff that we got to do earlier because you were a little bit behind in the leveling thing. But you've experienced your first raid content now. So what were your thoughts on that the other night?
I have. I enjoyed it. It was a lot more puzzly than Destiny 1 raids I found. Like,
Yeah,
there was a lot less
definitely.
fight and a lot more problem solving and puzzly. So I liked it a lot more because of that, because it was so different. Whereas before raids were, you stand on this thing which activates this and you fight off wave upon wave of bad guys, and then the other thing activates. And then you fight off wave upon wave of bad guys over there. So I really enjoyed it. So I got to play the gardens. Is it?
Pleasure
Is that the
Gardens.
level I got to do?
Pleasure Gardens.
Pleasure
Yeah.
Gardens. Thank you. So that was really cool. I really liked it. It was good fun. I look forward to doing all the other bits and pieces of the raid now, actually, which being the festive season, hopefully we'll be able to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then
Interesting. We did the pleasure gardens on our third attempt with half the group doing it for the first time.
We did really well. I was amazed.
That was insane.
Yeah.
Like,
But just so
I was
MLG.
shocked.
No, it was good.
Well, that was the thing. Like, I got... Because it was, myself, Anthony, and who was the third new person?
Dave hadn't done it yet, I don't think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we'd ask you how many times you did. Yeah, like, we did this for a while. And then we're like, oh, yeah, 3 goes done.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that wasn't too bad. Probably helped having 3 very experienced people doing it.
We're all a higher level than when we attempted it on PlayStation 2, which was handy.
I don't know how much of a difference that makes though, because it's more about the stealth aspect and not alerting the guard dogs, and your level
That's
doesn't
true.
help with that so much.
I was epic as the ground team leader.
Yes, you did a very, very good job, I must admit.
Yeah.
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 Super good. The fact that everybody actually paid attention and
take
didn't
full
try and
credit.
fuck off on their own helped a lot as well.
I know. I was explicitly like, do as I say, and don't move a moment before that.
Yeah. Jam used the mum voice MVP.
Yeah.
Bitch, I said stay.
That was good.
Great
And-
fun though. And we actually managed to 5-man the doors outside before Ollie joined us. Which I didn't think we were gonna make it. Somehow we did.
That was a little bit of a closer affair, but we got there in the end. That was all right. So, and that was more what you were just saying a second ago, Ollie. That's mostly fighting off hordes and hordes of dudes. But
There we
yeah.
go. Knew it was in there somewhere.
Well, there's a little bit in there. That one sort of runs, and focuses on capturing flags and putting them down on a position and holding that position. But because the flags can actually be stolen back off you, so it's not just the fighting part. It's also target prioritization. But there's a bit more of that. But the other rooms, like there's one in particular. I can't remember the name of it, but I think you'll enjoy it a lot because it's very different. There's one which has like a relay race in it, and you basically have to. Run a circuit and try to get it done in a certain amount of time and not die while half the team are doing another task. And that one's really interesting. So, yeah, very, very different. But yeah, you got to play some of the Dawning content as well today, from what I understand. So how's that looking? That's the Christmassy sort of expansion thing they're doing.
Yeah, so the tower looks a bit different now. It's all snowy and Christmas decorations. And yeah, there was a couple of presents. I really like this idea. There's essentially a Secret Santa quest, which is you get given a schematic and you have to go around collecting the parts for it. And once you do that, you hand it in, and then someone else that has done that gives you their schematic, essentially, at random. So it's essentially Destiny 2 Secret Santa with schematics. I was like, oh, that's actually kind of cool.
Huh.
I'll just say Dustlight shards are the bane of my existence, because holy shit. God damn, I hate finding those things.
You mean the things on the European drop zone, dead zone that you find sort of out in the world? Oh, okay. That's part of the hunt and seek thing, is it?
For my one, I don't know if everyone has the same. I feel like it might be different each time. But mine's defeat 15 wizards and find 10 Dustlight.
Oh, it sounds
And I'm about
very
halfway through
challenge-like.
each.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's cool. I got to try... Oh, there's piles of snow everywhere that you can pick up. And you can make snowballs and you can throw them at baddies and they do a bunch of damage and they chill to the bone, which is like a slow debuff.
Ah.
And then you can also do that to players, which is really funny. Once a public event starts, I throw snowballs at people because I'm an asshole. Which is entirely amusing.
So hang on, when you're throwing them at other people, do they actually take damage or just get slowed?
They don't take damage, they get the slow though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's quite funny. Apart from that, I got to try the Crucible with Mayhem mode.
Oh, okay.
Oh
so
my God.
Is this akin to our Mayhem love of Overwatch? Or
Yep.
is this... Oh, sweet.
So it's reduced cooldown on abilities. The power ammo has a decreased timer as well. And your supers charge up way faster.
Oh, awesome.
So, Jesus, I really like this. I was a big fan. Because I'm a Titan, so I go around, double grenades, it's great, smashing into people, get my super, just Hulk smash the ground everywhere. It is immensely fun. That being said, it makes me want to play a solar Titan, so just throw hammers at everyone. It's like hammer, 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 hammer. because I was on the receiving end of that quite a bit.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was good times. I'm liking it. It's definitely my preferred time sink of choice at the moment when it comes to gaming, which is good. It's holding my attention, so I'm happy.
I had noticed, yeah. No, it's been a good time. There's been a lot of things threatening to divide my attention over the last week, but Destiny's still holding it pretty effectively as well, so that's good.
It's all good.
So one of the things that did actually, was going to potentially divide my attention was a bit of GTA, but I didn't end up jumping in. But Jam, you started on the Doomsday Heist shenanigans, so how's that going? What's going on there?
So good. It's interesting the way it's set up. So I had to purchase a facilitator. And to do so, I thought, I'll splash and, buy a shark card because it's ages since I spent any actual money on the game. And it's still giving me hours of entertainment. And then after purchasing that, I accidentally bought a plane while I was looking through the Warstock app. I accidentally spent $3 million of my in-game money.
Holy shit.
Oh my
It was
goodness.
a stealth plane. It stealthed out of her wallet.
I clicked to look and see if there was a color choice option, and it went, purchase successful. And I went, shit. But, I flew it around some. It's cool. I think I need to upgrade it to get the bombing features. I don't know.
Right.
But the Doomsday Heist is pretty sweet. So there's 3 arcs to it, and I've completed the first 2 with friends. I like it because it's got a whole bunch more before the actual heist, each heist finale. You've got prep missions, which you do in Free Roam World, and then the setup missions, and then the heist.
Oh, okay. So that sounds like a lot more than the other heists.
Yeah, it is. And Arc 2 had more than Arc 1, so I'm guessing Arc 3 is going to be even more involved.
Yeah.
The weird thing is we had probably greater difficulty with some of the setup missions than we did with the heist finales.
Oh, is that
So
because
far.
it was in the open world and you had other people messing with you, or?
No, the setups aren't. The setups are instanced and the heists are instanced. The prep work is in the free world, and we have a friend who very conveniently has rubbish internet. So he tends to, when he connects, get thrown into a real quiet server or one by himself. So we all just jump in on him
Convenient.
so that we avoid the hackers, because that's probably the biggest issue. We were in the middle of one of the prep sessions and suddenly there were planes all over the road, and we had to carefully navigate around them to avoid damage.
Did you question whether they were there because you accidentally purchased them, or was that not a thing?
No, it was a different plane. That plane was in my hangar.
Or snap.
But yeah, it's funny because it's got, this new story arc with Lester and co. And it took an interesting turn during the second arc, which was cool. We had to breach a submarine for the finale of the second arc, which was awesome. I have no idea what our aircrew were doing. Ari and I were just running around this submarine, just dominating. Yeah, and the vehicles, oh my God, the DeLorean thing, so good.
That was pretty mint.
So good. I need to purchase one. I'm not going to be able to pimp it out, though, because I accidentally bought a plane. So,
Well, that thing's like $3 million as well, from what I understand. So.
Yeah. But I'm super enjoying it. GTA has just so much of my attention again. And I was surprised. I only found out about the Doomsday Heist the day before. I'd managed to avoid or not register any of the news that came up about it. So, yeah, it's really cool. And I can't wait to see the proper finale or how big the setup for the next arc is, because, yeah, I think it's just going to get massive and it's going to use all of the cool gadgets and toys, and hopefully it's funny and not too cringy, because some of those characters are just, ugh.
So I have one question for you with the new features of the Doomsday Heist stuff, and particularly your facility. So the orbital bombardment cannon or whatever it is, I want to get your feedback. Is that thing dope or nope?
Nope. Don't spend your money on it.
All right.
I haven't used it personally, but I have been the target of an orbital strike, and all you do is just explode. Doesn't even look fancy. You just die.
Oh, okay.
That
And it
disappoints
costs
me.
$500,000 for a manual shot, one manual shot, and $750,000 in game for an assisted targeted shot.
Wow.
It's
Wow.
pretty lame.
Yeah. At that cost, there will be
But,
no
I mean,
innocent bystanders.
It
We
near
target them.
guarantees that you'll hit someone, doing something. So I guess you just, I'll get you one day, Luke. We know it. It's going to happen.
At 500 grand, I'm almost happy to be on the receiving end of that just to see it.
Oh, it'll be 750, mate, so I make sure that you get wiped.
I'm actually surprised we don't use more muggers versus each other, but there you go.
That's true. We'll see. I've
they're
learned to put all of my cash in the
Yeah.
bank ASAP.
Bank everything.
Yeah, I think we're much more effective at killing each other ourselves rather than trusting some sort of AI to do it in game. So, it's, you want a job done right, do it yourself, basically.
But yeah, it's really good fun. But then Ollie pulled me away from it the other night and convinced me to get the test server for PUBG to try out the desert map. It was really cool.
It's
oh my
so
gosh.
cool.
And it's pretty, and I can vault things.
And it runs smoothly. That's the most important part.
Well, that's better than the Xbox release at the moment, from what I hear. So that's a good sign.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
They've been having some trubs on their the opening week, apparently. So I have not tested it myself, so that's only what I've read. But yeah, it does not sound like people are happy, unfortunately.
Well, it's only 20 hours till full release on PC now. So we'll all be able to play soon after some updates.
Sweet.
Yeah, there's a countdown banner on Steam.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Ooh.
Front page. Well, it was when I, logged on.
Just in time for Christmas.
Yeah. But yeah, the map's huge. It's really neat with the reduced foliage is interesting. Because it's a lot harder to move around without getting spotted.
Okay.
And the new towns are cool. The buildings are neat because they're a little more convoluted and harder to keep track of which room you've been through. It's not like a simple one path, building or access. There's multiple doors and
Oh, okay.
it's messy inside. There's obstructions, but it's really cool. I don't think I've seen all of the new gear and vehicles. I drove the combi van. Yay! That was
Drive a jet ski as well?
a highlight. I was passenger on a wooden jet ski. That was weird. It was wood panelled. I don't understand. Because I looked around, I'm like, there's nothing here. And Al goes, there's a jet ski right there. And I went, what? And turned around and it was just wood next to the wood of the jetty.
Oh,
I
interesting.
just glossed right over it.
Being harder to spot might be an interesting challenge. So,
Yeah. Not once you're over the water, though. Very
Definitely
distinctive. Huge target. The water looks cool. The graphics, they're much nicer. I managed to turn up my specs to check it out some. But, still died a bunch. We did okay in the second round.
We did really good in the second round. Like, really good. And then the circle made us charge out into the open, which is always great.
Hey!
So, with the map in general, there's a lot less, little obstacles, like rocks and trees and stuff. And instead you have to rely on the actual, sloping of the terrain to block line of fire, which is a really interesting change.
it sounds like the open areas are more open and the dense areas are more dense. Would that be an accurate
Essentially, yeah.
summary? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the urban
then I've
areas
only
are
seen-
intense.
The two games we played, I saw the same corner of the map. So there is so much I haven't seen.
Yeah, it's a bigger map for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, quite neat.
Good.
And vaulting. Vaulting through windows.
I will definitely jump
All
in when
breaking
that
glass.
game sort of launches proper again with the new stuff. That'll be a good opportunity, I think. The main thing that's been keeping me away is mostly just getting my shooting fix in Destiny at the moment. But yeah, no, that'll be good time. All right, well, Mimo, you've had a little bit of a chill time while everyone else talks about games. So let's throw to the next one, which we've all played, and I want to get you to start talking about first because I know you've been super excited about this one. Talk to us about RUMU. Or don't talk to us, talk to the audience because we're all going to talk about this. So, yeah.
You already know. Jam bought me RUMU for Christmas, and I
Thanks,
already
Jam.
opened it and played it.
Jam bought all of us RUMU for Christmas. Thank you, Jam.
Thanks, Jam.
I'm a bad Christmas person. I waited to open it, but I couldn't wait.
Hell no.
RUMU
That was
None
to
of us
play
did.
immediately.
Yeah, RUMU is a game that we spoke about. If you listen to our PAX episodes, it's made by Robot House. Robot House.
Robert.
Good job, brain. And it is about a little sentient robot vacuum cleaner learning about what happened to its owners. And it is very short, question mark, for it's a bit more of a narrative game. But I absolutely loved it. I think that it shows just what can be done in... I think I spent 2 hours playing the game.
Yeah.
Was my full playtime. Finished the game, adding it to my list of games I completed. this year.
Hey.
Hooray! And I loved it. I couldn't put it down. I sort of played a chunk of it and went, I'm just way too tired and it's getting too real. I'll put this down and I'll finish it tomorrow. And absorbed it while everyone else is playing Destiny. And it was the I'm not crying, you're crying ending. I thought it was really, really good. Did you guys enjoy it? Who else has finished it? Ollie, you finished it today.
I finished. Yep.
I have not. I think I'm very, very close though. I'm 2 hours in.
Yeah, I've not finished.
You
one.
must be super close.
I'm only like half an hour or so in. I've got a lot more to play, so yeah.
All right, this isn't a spoiler, but on a scale of 1 to a billion, how many balls did you 3D print?
I
2.
I only printed 2. Yeah.
I printed so many.
You meant to clean the mess, not make mess.
It was so fun. So when you guys were playing, I was like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. And like, I was like, this game is fun. That was just 3D printing little balls and they were rolling around the place. And I took a photo. I'll send it to you guys in our chat. I entertained myself greatly. So it is a very good story, I thought really well told. It was kind of reminiscent of her story in that there is points where I'm like, oh my god, what happened? But I think it's well done. I think especially since it was created in a year, is astounding for the quality that it came out at. And I really, really enjoyed it. I think it's a solid little game, available now on Steam. And there's not much else I can say about it. It's beautiful. I think the sound in the game is very well done. I had sort of minor adjustments. I wish that it was playable on a controller. Is probably my only sort of feedback, because I got really turned around. Like, I'm not very good with inverted controls, and so because RUMU, when it spins, like backwards becomes forwards, and so it's kind of like I kept bumping into walls, like that little face that he makes when he bumps into things.
Dizzy face.
Yeah, gunk. Yeah. I was bumping in, like, there's all these like critical scenes where you're like going through things. I was like, gunk. I was like, right, okay, this is my own story. It was really, really good. The achievements are really good. I got nerd and you giant nerd, which means that I read every book in RUMU.
I have the first. I got the green thumb one.
You watered all the plants?
I watered every plant.
Yeah.
I didn't. I couldn't find. There was a plant I must have missed. Somewhere in like the critical like story. Oh, what a plant!
Did you play
For yourself
the
a
mini
house
game?
maintenance robot.
I did play the mini game. I was bad at the mini game. But that's the thing. Like, it had all these little avenues in it that I thought were quite clever. It had more of a bit of a depth to it. What did you guys think? I mean, what's your experiences to date?
Can I jump in next so that we finish on a slightly higher note?
Yeah,
because I've not been having a great time with it. So, yeah, look, it's. I don't know if it's something that's isolated to me or whether I've just got a totally different perception of the game's sort of built-in controls or not. But I don't know why. But when I'm trying like use my mouse in this game, it feels like the cursor is digging through molasses. It's just really off-putting. So
how are you using
that? Don't happen to me at all.
There are 3 different ways you can move RUMU.
All right, so I understand, like, one of the things that I kind of appreciated about this game when I got in and started using the keyboard to control RUMU for the most part is that, like, it's a vacuum cleaner, so it shouldn't be super easy to control because it's got, the forwards and backwards motion and it sort of turns on the spot, so it shouldn't be, move anywhere the hell you want. It, obviously it has a way to move.
You can't strafe.
Yeah, exactly. Probably a good way of putting it, actually. You can't strafe. But that being said, I think that the mouse is still a required component of playing the game. You can't just do it with the keyboard because you still need to be able to click on objects in your environment to interact with them. And one of the options that you have...
I had none of these problems.
I don't know. One of the options you have too with your movement, which I was trying to use, is you can use your mouse cursor to pathfind. So if you hover your cursor somewhere, you can, I think it's the enter or the shift key you hold down and RUMU sort of moves towards where the cursor is.
You just click. Click and it pathfinds.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, because I found it so difficult to control the mouse, I was not really getting much of that happening smoothly at all.
What do you mean though?
Look, I don't know. Like, I looked for mouse settings within the game to sort of adjust the sensitivity. It's kind of like, when you're in Windows and the mouse sensitivity is way too low and it just drags across the screen instead of sort of zipping around. It felt like that.
Question.
Oh.
Yeah.
Are you clicking and dragging it in front of him?
No.
Or in front of Rumu?
No, this is literally
then
just
what
moving
do
the
you-
cursor.
That's another way you can move him. But that is like a
'Cause-
progressive speed build-up.
I've tried that too,
Yeah.
so I know what you mean, but that's not how I'm doing it generally. So,
I think
I-
that might
yeah, I
be
just
a-
don't
having
understand.
hardware compatibility issues.
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
It sort of caught me by surprise because it seemed weird and isolated to this game. Like, I've not had this problem with any other game on my PC. So
I
just,
had a similar issue with the Telltale Tales from the Borderlands.
okay.
I had some compatibility issues. That's why I haven't gone back to it yet, but there's probably been a patch since that fixes it. But yeah,
I don't know, it's
sometimes
Telltale. Their engine
the
shit.
machine goes a bit janky.
Yeah, I don't know. You could be right. I hope it's that. I really do hope it's that because if it was part of the core game, and it certainly doesn't sound like it is because you guys don't seem to
No.
match that experience at all. So
Did you try turning it off and on again?
Probably
yes,
not.
I tried
Sage
turning it on.
advice.
Professional opinion. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. Hopefully there's a fix of some sort that rears its head. As far as the rest of it goes, like I haven't gone anywhere near as far into the game as you guys, so I can't really comment on a lot of the sort of story and stuff like that. The basic mechanics seem fine. The graphics are beautiful. I like the way that all the rooms are rendered. It's got that sort of neon sort of art style to it, which is really cool. And the way the light plays off that, I think, is great. I did find the lack of any kind of functional tutorial to be an odd choice. Like, there was an area where you sort of practice cleaning up, but as far as how to use the basic controls, and I looked at the control scheme sort of through the options, and there's a whole bunch of stuff in there that, as far as I can tell, the game doesn't really tell you how to use it properly.
See,
So,
I liked that. I loved
Yeah.
that.
I liked
was
it as a part of
thematic.
the game. Yeah.
yeah, I don't know.
It's what the story is. This little robot's booting up and being calibrated and moving around the house for the first time. I think it's wonderful. You're learning with Rumu.
I don't like games that put it in your face and just sort of say, press this to do this, press this to do this. It's the ones that subtly incorporate it into the opening stages of the game that I appreciate the most, and this just didn't seem to do that at all. So I thought maybe it was a missed opportunity in some ways. But look, I get both sides of the argument. I think, being led by the hand is not always the answer. So I would have liked a little bit of it maybe, but I don't know.
I mean, I found there's not a lot of variety in the controls for Rumu, so figuring them out for myself was really good. I love the art style. I love the fact that you only ever see one room at a time because there's a little robot vacuum cleaner and he can only be aware of what's in his line of sight,
So
what
much,
his senses can pick up. It's just delightful. So the background of the room that you're moving around in is just this space.
But it's
With
themed.
some-
They put stuff in it.
Yeah, yeah. It's gorgeously designed. I adore the graphics.
I think the sound and the voice acting in it, I think, is really good. I think
Yes.
it's well
Sabrina's-
chosen. Yeah,
Yeah.
Sabrina's done really well. I really like the shift mechanic.
Yeah.
So
the little
when you
scanner
can get
view.
the scanner access to stuff, which Luke might not have got to yet, but that's kind of puts a depth to the game that I really like. And it kind of went from being, I'm a robot vacuum cleaner, to I'm part of a bigger system. And I think that's done really well considering you're only in one room at a time. I had no idea about like how the house was laid out. Like there's a couple of rooms I'm like, I know that's next to that. But there was a point where I was like, nah, I got no idea.
You'd like to eat a
Right
Finch
there
house,
with you.
maybe?
Yeah. There is an opportunity on one of the walls. There is a map and I kind of looked at it for a while. I was like, I'll remember that. And I did not.
Yeah. I couldn't make it
So-
out clearly.
No, and I don't think you're supposed to. I think it's supposed to give you an idea, but I don't think it's supposed to be like part of the game.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it's really cool. I like the idea. I kind of hope that there can be something extra to it, but I don't know how that
Whoa.
happens. Yeah. I'd love to see Rumo on more adventures
Yeah.
of some description because I just thought it was kind of an interesting. I liked being able to. The dialogue choices were cute.
They were
I-
adorable.
I always went with the just I love this option. Whenever there was an option of like I don't trust this or I love this, I always picked I love this. I love
No,
this.
I like the I love not this.
Yeah.
Okay, Rumu. It's like having an argument with a 5-year-old. Okay.
Yeah.
What did you think, Ollie?
I really liked it. Like the art style, like you guys all said, is great. The sound design is good. The story actually genuinely surprised me how like deep it was. I was like, oh wow, there's all this like cool reference material. Like, if you genuinely read the books in the game, don't just rush through. Like, this is one of the few games I actually clicked on absolutely everything I could, because goddamn, there's a lot of background stuff. That being said, I don't know, like, I don't understand how you can have issues with the controls, Luke. Like, short of being a hardware issue, because it is literally WASD, left click, shift and tab. Like, shrug. I don't know how you need a tutorial for that.
No,
sure.
it's not so much tutorial. Like, some of the other stuff might be things that I saw on the control scheme and hadn't encountered yet, like that scanning thing. Obviously, I didn't get up to. So, yeah, I don't know. It just, because it's not your standard sort of movement, and I was having the additional issues. Maybe it just sort of compounded it in my mind. But hopefully that is the case. What I might actually do, if because we're all going to be around at Memos in the next couple of days, maybe I'll just get you to load it up, Memo, and just experience how different it feels on your system to mine, and then maybe that'll answer some questions.
But sure.
Yeah.
There was one thing, and I don't know, Jem and Ollie, there's the room that you go into that's RUMU's
Oh, the storage
place.
space?
Yeah. And like when you like find things, it adds it to your room.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now,
That's supposed to represent your memory bank, isn't it?
Yeah, but at one point, things in the room went away.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, that hasn't happened to me.
Yeah,
Yep.
I was wondering if it was just me, like if I had a glitch, or it could. I was like, or it could be a thing. But okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
that feels intentional.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
It made me so sad. I was like,
It was me too. I was like, I spent so much time collecting things.
collected all the things.
My memories. But okay.
It's a cool game.
Yeah.
I'm very happy with the recommendation and then playing it. I was, for the 2 hours I spent, it was well worth it. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
An Australian, so woot. More great games. Good job.
So we should probably move on, because we've got another awesome sort of new game this week that, another 2 hours worth of total gorgeousness, which we should chat about. So now, am I right in that all three of us minus Mimo have played through this one?
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
So let's chat some Gorogoa. And Ollie, let's kick off with you, because I think that...
Oh, God.
Yeah, because you finished it last out of us. Let's go in reverse order. What are your thoughts on it?
I like that it's... What's the best way I can describe it? I guess
Interactive comic puzzle.
Yeah, I like how the puzzles deliberately make you think in non-Euclidean terms. Mm-hmm. I really like that. Like, you're just like, there should be a door here. Let's move the door over here. There's now a door there. And the guy walks out. I'm like, this just makes sense. Like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, it feels like a child's logic, if that makes any sort of sense. Mm-hmm. In that you go, this should be how it works. That's how it works. That just makes sense. Like, I feel like the simpler you think, the more natural the game feels almost.
It's a weird kind of abstract logic. Yeah.
A bit Escher-esque.
And I enjoyed it. I genuinely enjoyed it. I don't think I enjoyed it as much as RUMU, but I enjoyed the gameplay mechanics of Gorogoa better, if that makes sense. But I enjoyed the story of RUMU more. Mm-hmm. Would be how I best compare the two, because I played them both today, audience, for what it's worth. Mm-hmm. So I had a very immediate one then the other effect. But yeah, I really love the art style, actually. The art style is really cool. And I should say I played it on PC. I didn't play it on my iPad.
Oh, okay.
Oh, interesting.
That is interesting. Yeah. So I think Jam and I both played it on iPad. I was actually contemplating playing on phone for a little bit, because I would carry my phone around with me more. But I eventually decided that it wouldn't do the art justice.
What a bigger screen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, I played through it and finished it over the course of a couple of days, sort of just on public transport, sort of back and forth from work, just getting in maybe, half-hour sessions at a time. And finished it last night. And if we were talking about our favourite mobile game of the year, this one would be number one for me. I loved the shit out of it. It was awesome. Loved it. Absolutely loved it.
Ditto.
Yeah. So
I thought it was extraordinary, and I was enthralled, and I finished it in one sitting. Mm-hmm. I couldn't put it down.
Yeah. No, I definitely couldn't either. For me, it was I preferred it to Monument Valley 1 and 2, personally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
Yeah. No, it was real
It's
good.
just delightful, because there's not a lot of, there's no context or exposition. There's just an image pops up, and you start trying to manipulate it, and slowly you shift panels across to other. There's up to 4 spaces on your screen for different panels of different pictures, and if you zoom in or zoom out or overlay the panels correctly, it'll trigger a new animation for the main character to proceed in the quest that they have. And there's a lot of puzzle elements, and you have to pay attention to clues in the graphics, and the graphics are really cool, gorgeously drawn. It was just delightful.
And it seems that the name Gorogoa comes from the mythical creature that you're trying to hunt. It seems like that was the corally, multicolored dragon that you sort of see depicted in a lot of the images, from what I can understand. Yeah. There's no audio in this game at all, except for some nice sort of calm, soothing music. It's not like there's any narration or anything. It's all just visual storytelling. But I actually really enjoyed the story, all things considered. Like, particularly at the end, where it kind of joins all of the dots together from all of the different sort of disparate sort of scenes you've experienced. I loved how that all came together at the end. I thought that was a masterstroke how that all sort of interconnected. Man, what a great game! seriously good. Surprised the hell out of me. Yeah, I'm gonna get my son to play it tomorrow and see what he thinks.
Oh wow! There's some tricky bits in there.
I think so, but if he can finish Breath of the Wild on his own without any help from me, I'm sure that he can do all right with this one. So there's some tricky puzzles in that game. So yeah, we'll see. All right. Anyway, we really need to get a move on. We've played lots of games this week, but we have a very, very small amount of news to sort of check off tonight. So just on the topic of PUBG coming out real soon, we have a bit of a preview of the 3D replay system, which is going to be launching with the game when it hits its 1.0 version. And there's an article posted today about the detail of this thing and the fact that it's actually already being used for a whole bunch of people doing like machinima style video content for the game, which I think is awesome. I'm really looking forward to see what comes out of it with people using those tools. But if there's one thing I've been wanting in PUBG since the beginning, it's a really good replay system so you can see exactly how and why you got fucked on by somebody a kilometre away. Sometimes you just want to know. So, all right, Olive, you had a look at this. What do you think?
I haven't had a huge look at the 3D replay, but I will say the test server does have death replay, so you can watch who killed you and how, which is always amusing. But yeah, I like that they're making this system. I think it's a good idea. I think will hopefully, help with the spectator side of things as well. But yeah, and machinima is always great. I'm a big fan of machinima, so yeah.
I think it'd be really handy for when they do competitive gaming of this as well, for sure.
Yes, definitely. For when they do their Twitch streams of competitive matches, that sort of stuff, 100%.
Yeah. So apparently, just a bit of detail around it, you can actually have up to 20 recordings saved on your PC at any one time. And you can lock certain recordings to prevent them from being automatically overridden when you make more. And in the replay mode, you've got complete freedom to view the action from any angle. And that's a really handy feature. So yeah, you can see 3 different perspectives, what the player was seeing on their screen at the time. You can place the camera above and behind the player, sort of allows you to sort of, get that third person view a bit more clearly and pan back and forth. And then free camera, which allows you to sort of just zoom around the battlefield and look at various different bits and pieces going on. So that's awesome. Really big fan of that. That all sounds excellent. So PUBG onto Grand Theft Auto 5. Now, Jam, playing the game, did you see any signs of this Easter egg that dropped during the week? That apparently there's a Red Dead Redemption 2 bonus item actually hidden in GTA 5. Did you see anything?
I have it.
Oh, you have it?
Yep.
Wow. Okay.
I have it.
Interesting. So
you get an email on your phone asking you to go on a treasure hunt and giving you a picture of the location where you have to go. And then there's a zone marked out on your map. And I found that the people I was playing with, we each had a different starting area for the first clue. And then you end up getting a series of clues after that narrows it down. And you end up with a cool, was it double revolver?
Yeah,
double revolver.
Yeah, all gold and stuff. Very
super
Red Dead-y.
powerful.
I haven't used it very much yet. But it was a really cool little treasure hunt. Mine was particularly hard to find for the first one, but then for the subsequent clues, we tended to have the same ones. Yeah, it's neat. It was just a fun little surprise because I had no idea what it was at the time. And I said to the others in the server, I was like, I just got emailed this clue. I'm going treasure hunting. And they went, what? no, that's not fair. And shortly thereafter, they got their emails. And we all just scattered. So, yeah, and you get some bonus stuff if you get 50 headshots with the revolver. I haven't done that yet, but one of the others got it pretty quickly. I think it's a bit of cash and I can't even remember.
Yeah, it was a
Ollie?
Red Dead Redemption item, I think, and then 250k GTA bucks.
Yeah, you have to do the headshot challenge to get the item in RDR2. So yeah, that kind of cross game thing is awesome fun. I mean, usually it's Blizzard doing that kind of thing because they've got all the different games on the same platform. But yeah, with the Rockstar Social Club, I guess that'll work quite well with GTA and Red Dead. So yeah. Okay, well, are we all ready to kick off into the main event for tonight? We good?
Sure.
All right. So we have part 2 of our party favorites. So who would like to kick off tonight with the next category?
I will. Why not? I'm Mr. Enthusiasms tonight. So the category I'm going to be talking about is favorite game feature or mechanic. So this could be how a certain game runs throughout and how the mechanics work in that. It could be a cool little feature that they have that you really enjoyed. It could be their weapon system, it could be their movement system, it could be a sequence in the game, whatever takes your fancy, basically. So with this one, I'm going to throw to Jam first.
Ooh.
'Cause I can.
Mine would be my mechanic in GTA because he looks after my cars.
He is a lad.
Har. My runner-up is actually Gorogoa, having only played it just last weekend. As I said before, it's astounding how much you can do with the 4 panels you're given, pulling them apart, zooming in on them, focusing on switching different objects, lining them up so that they interact with each other in different ways to either move the character through or mechanically change something in the game. It's so hard to describe. It was done so incredibly well. And even though I think it costs about $8 in the App Store, and I finished it in a little over an hour, well worth the money because you can see just the extraordinary amount of careful planning that went into structuring the sequence of puzzles so that it was just one big interactive, neat thing. So hard to explain, but if you like puzzles, try it, get it, or look it up, watch a video, and then you'll immediately understand what I mean. It's so clever. But for me, and I don't think this will be much of a surprise after last week, I chose What Remains of Edith Finch for game mechanics. And it's because the whole game, every sequence you're involved in had a new, a different, and almost every time a somewhat unique mechanic to tell the story of that character in such a creative, thematic, and fun, entertaining way that absorbed me from, I don't want to spoil it. Spoilers for the next 30 seconds. From, flying a kite to playing with toys to navigating environments as like spirit creatures, or I can't even remember them all. Walking through a little 2D world that grows into a 3D world, and it's incredible. It's so incredible, and I couldn't possibly pick my favorite mechanic because it was just done so well. And now I don't want to say any more. If you like really interesting stories and cool mechanics, just get the game. Don't look up too much about it. Don't avoid spoilers. Ignore me. Just go get the game because it's remarkable.
Yeah. I guess I'll follow on from that one. So for me, I also picked What Remains of Edith Finch. For me in particular, it was the fish cannery factory, the one with the fish. That for me is what really stood out in particular for like just the actual mechanics of that and using the mechanics to mirror the narrative.
That was Lewis's story?
Yeah.
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 The one
that was
Imogen and I
brilliant.
spoke about last week is our favourite sequence.
Yeah.
It's magical.
And that for me had my favourite game mechanics just because, narrative and the game mechanics mirrored perfectly. And I was like, yep, I'm sold. Good job, game. You win. You win the games. So yes, What Remains of Edith Finch is easily my pick. And again, same reason. There's so many variety of things and they all feel unique yet coherent within the whole, which is what I quite like.
It's not disjointed at all. It's just
it flows.
beautiful.
So I guess I'll then throw to the Imogen.
The Imogen.
The Imogen.
My favorite game feature or mechanic was from Horizon Zero Dawn. Shocking surprise! It's the bullet time and scan of enemies that I really, really liked in that game. It's been done many, 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 many times before, especially notable in Tomb Raider. It used a very similar mechanic. Yeah. But the way that it managed to be written into the story and also in the skill tree, I thought was really good. So you can choose to be sneaky sneaks, you can choose in everything else, but I liked the ability to be able to like slow down time and basically have a bullet time moment where I was jumping in the air and firing backwards with my bow and arrow at a precise point on an enemy. So that by far was my favorite mechanic. It made me feel cool as shit. And I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'd actually forgot about that, but that is on point. That's a really good one. That was something that blew me away when we did our first test of that game. Yeah. Well, for me, there was a whole bunch of honourable mentions this year. Just, to name a few very briefly, the Prey neuromods were a cool one. So, hey, you could actually use the Typhon neuromods to morph into a coffee mug and other devices to sort of puzzle through different areas. That was really cool. The Hellblade sound awareness stuff we spoke about last week, that was awesome. Super Mario Odyssey, the 2D bits where you're actually, platforming up a wall in that game. Like, I didn't actually get to play a whole bunch of Odyssey. It was mostly just the snippet at PAX, but I thought that was a really wild one. There was some really cool stuff in Gorogoa that Jam just mentioned. But my pick this year is actually from Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. And for me, my favourite mechanic in a game this year was actually the Divine Beast sort of challenges in Breath of the Wild, which are basically the dungeons of that game. So the game's absolutely filled with puzzles in all the different shrines that you play, and there's a whole bunch of really cool mechanics in each of those. But they all sort of come to a head in the Divine Beast because it's like a larger, more in-depth area with those sorts of puzzles. But every single one of the Divine Beasts, you could actually manipulate the shape of the entire beast while you're inside it. Like, say, for example, one of them was a giant elephant shape. And you actually have to, while you're within the thing, you get access to a map at one point, and then from the map console, you can actually change the way the trunk is actually pointing on this thing, and that actually gives you access to different areas of the machine, depending on which way the water's spraying, which end of the trunk you can actually traverse up and climb up, depending on how it's sort of ranged, and all that sort of stuff, just the way the body twists and turns and sort of opens up different elements of the dungeon. I just thought that was absolutely awesome. So the puzzle elements behind that combined with everything else in those challenges just blew me away. It was really, really good. So that's my pick for this year. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
There we go. Divided opinions across the board.
That was good.
Which is nice, yeah. It was, to be fair, the games this year have been very, very cool with the amount of different mechanics that they've introduced. There's been a good variety of games this year.
Yeah, unique stuff.
So I guess I'm going to hand it over, pass the baton to Jam.
Ooh, me. Glorious. Well, the next segment is what is your biggest surprise relating to video games for 2017? So it can be a surprise that you encountered within a game. It can be the game itself or gaming industry related. What delighted or frightened you this year? Gonna start with Memo.
Oh, well.
Because I'm curious.
Yeah, my runner-up of like biggest surprise this year was probably the strike by voice actors in the gaming industry. Not necessarily because I'm surprised that they did it, but more that I'm kind of glad in a way that they did. The strike actually brought my attention. Like, it's no secret, guys, that I like Critical Role, which is full of voice actors from some of our favorite games. And I knew what they did was an art and, everything else, but I didn't quite understand the terms of which they record games. And so I learned a lot more myself about the importance of these people as actors in their own right in these games and their performance and everything else. So that was the biggest surprise for me. It was thankfully resolved. There was a few casualties was it Ashley Birch who didn't get to reprise her role in the second round of...
Yeah, it was funny. I was watching an interview on that today, as it turns out, because she got interviewed by Greg Miller, and that posted a couple of days ago. Turns out that while she was not doing the voice acting for the part of Chloe in that game, she was actually still a creative consultant on the way the narrative played out, and she was actually helping to write some of it. So yeah,
because they were on strike, obviously. So being unionized means that you don't cross the line, obviously. And she was one person who was quite passionate about what it is that they do and the strain that they put on their voices and themselves, and the fact that they don't get paid very much at all by comparison. So, so that was interesting. That was just my runner-up. But my biggest surprise was easily Persona 5. I did not expect to enjoy this game whatsoever, and it's easily one of my favorite games of this year. So, big surprise for me. I have not finished it, but the fact that I'm really keen to really surprised me. I'm really, really enjoying it. It's also, like, I've never played a game in this genre before, ever.
Oh,
so, yeah. I guess a notable mention, Destiny 2. Also did not expect to enjoy that game at all.
Yeah, you had your
And
time.
it was
You certainly had a
short-lived.
good time.
I had my
Yeah.
time. Yeah, I had my time, but it was fun. I enjoyed it. I
I'm-
will
I'm
admit
going
it, I
to-
enjoyed it.
I was going to say I'm going to tack on to yours because my topic was Persona 5 as well.
Yay!
I knew nothing about it until about a week before it came out. Hadn't ever paid attention to mentions of the previous games. Didn't know what it entailed. Imogen got all excited about it, started playing it, told me about it, and within 24 hours I had it too. And then I dropped 100 and, well, I don't even remember how much.
Plus, yeah.
130-ish hours into it without a problem in a year where I had so much trouble finishing big and small games. It had everything that I wanted. A really cool story, really different mechanics, and was so much fun. So, yeah, that was really cool. My honorable mention runner-up is Sky Factory. Because, again, I didn't know anything about that, and I'd never played modded Minecraft before. And holy shit, is it still delighting me. I made fairy lights the other day and grew an enormous tree that pretty much reaches from the bottom to the top of the map and strung fairy lights all around it with my
We made
jetpack.
snowmen. I made so many snowmen. I meant
Yeah.
to make one. I now made 16 snowmen. So the whole of our Sky Factory world is full of snowmen.
It's adorable.
That's awesome.
So, Ollie,
That's
what was
me.
your surprise of the year?
My surprise of the year. So my quick runner-up was just how many good indie games there were this year. Like, that genuinely surprised me. Like, every year there's good indie games, but the sheer volume and diversity of what I'll, like, air quotes, not AAA games were available was just really, really cool. So that was always, like, it was a pleasant surprise. But for me, my biggest surprise was a little game called Little Nightmares.
That's right.
Knew nothing about this game. Someone, I can't remember who it was. I think it was maybe my mate Chris, was like, play this game, you'll really like it. I was like, okay, let's see what it's about. And yeah, I loved the shit out of this game and the expansion pack for it. It is just good fun. Like, if you don't have it, it is available on PS4, Xbox One, and Steam. Yeah, it's just go play it. It's a little platformer that relies on, like, child nightmare imagery and, like, child horrors and nightmares and stuff like that. And yeah, I enjoyed the gameplay mechanics, the physics used for the puzzles was really cool, and the story. There was an actual story behind it that was very much the whole, like, can you figure this out? And I was like, let's try and figure this out. And it was nice. It showed rather than told, which is always really important in the plot. So yeah, that was my surprise. Came out of nowhere. Turned out I loved the crap out of it.
Ollie,
Awesome.
I got a question for you. The expansion that
Sure.
you've played for that game, is that the one that has the underwater content?
Yes.
Okay, I think you have another expansion to enjoy, my friend. I believe there's another one out. So you might want to check that.
Ooh.
And from what I've heard, it
Merry
might be as
Christmas.
big as
There's a second DLC.
Yeah, it might be as big as the actual original game too, from what I've heard. So
Surprise!
Unrelated, Ollie
The
has
game
dropped off the
keeps
podcast.
surprising. It's a surprise that keeps on giving.
awesome.
Guys, I suddenly have to leave. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Before we
fully
lose
tested
Ollie,
to play
the
that.
call.
what was your surprise of the year?
So runner-up for me, and this very nearly topped the list actually because of how much it just came out of left field. I think it's probably similar to Persona for both of you ladies. My runner-up surprise was discovering the Yakuza series. Because holy crap, I knew nothing about that series because of the fact that it had been primarily an Eastern release up until it came to Western shores earlier this year. So, the year kicked off for me with playing Yakuza 0. And oh my God, that game was good. Like, just did not expect it. I did not know anything about the series. And before I knew it, I was completely invested in all of the characters, wanting to know what was going on with them. Looking forward to the remaster and re-release of the original Yakuza, which was Yakuza Kiwami. And Yakuza 6 is going to be out early next year, and they're doing a remaster of the second game shortly after as well. So I'm just going to keep playing them. They're just amazingly good, and highly recommend to anyone who enjoys that setting and gameplay style. Because man, as an action brawler with a whole bunch of cool story, it was great. But my number one this year, and this was a gift that kept on giving as far as surprise goes. It is pretty much the absolute phoenix from the ashes, meteoric rise back to power of Nintendo as a brand. Because this year, they have knocked it out of the fucking park. It has been incredible. So,
Switch, yo.
Yeah, man, Switch. I mean, I always thought that Switch was going to be successful, but I didn't think I expected how much of a success it was going to reach in its first year.
Roll the tapes.
Yeah.
Listen back to the episodes and see what you thought.
Well, you know, the thing that surprised me, you know, one of the biggest things that surprised me about the Switch is the fact that it's been almost universally adopted by everybody in different ways. Like, I don't think there's any dominant case for it being a docked console or a handheld console. It seems to still be a fairly even split. And that's amazing.
And some people are using it in full, like, true console mode. Like, they never remove it. They're never playing it, like, portable either. And it's just nuts.
It is. And it's not just that either. Like, it's the game lineup too. The fact that the Switch launched with virtually nothing except for Breath of the Wild and a couple of other, you know, titles that look like they were rushed out. And now we've got, you know, a couple of... I mean, you look at the Game Awards, you know, sort of categories, and there's a stack of Nintendo stuff in there. You've got, you know, the Mario Rabbids Kingdom battle, which ended up being ridiculously good despite how much of a train wreck that could have been. Super Mario Odyssey. You know, you've got a whole bunch of the remasters, which have been getting really well received. Apparently, people love Skyrim on the Switch. Like, that's one that's been really doing the rounds.
That Squid Game with the children in it.
Yep, just crazy stuff.
That's the one.
Yep.
Thank you.
And there's heaps more to look forward to as well. But I mean, other stuff too, like Nintendo's announcements at E3. Like, as soon as the Metroid Prime 4 logo came up on the screen, I fucking wet myself. Holy shit. You know, we've got Bayonetta coming out again, and I'm really looking forward to playing that because I missed it on the Wii U. That looks really awesome. Next year's going to be super strong for them again. I cannot wait to see it, but I did not expect their year to go the way it went. I mean, they're not without fault. There's still a couple of things that they need to get on top of, like their policy for content creators on YouTube definitely leaves a lot of people wanting, because they're not very supportive of that side of the industry. But man, with a lot of the other stuff, they're doing real good. Mini consoles, it just, the list goes on. So Nintendo for me, biggest surprise in 2017.
All right.
Cool.
Is that it? That all the surprising stuff?
Yeah.
That was the
Because
surprise.
now it's the best category of all time, which is our favorite party game of the month of the year. Hooray! I was worried I wasn't going to get that sentence out, but I did just fine.
Well done.
We had in month order Corgi Warlock, Devil Daggers, Antichamber, Death Squared, Epic Manager, Pit People, Never Alone, Cluster Truck, Jotun, Witch It, and Golf with Friends. So that's a pretty solid list. I mean, I think this year, basically comparing the sort of the last year's party games of the month, we had some weird ones in last year, but I think they were all pretty solid this year. There's ones that, you know, for surezies won't be on my list, and we've heard that in previous episodes. One of the worst games I've ever played in my whole life is on that list. So,
Ouch.
but you guys enjoyed it really, like, quite a lot. So, all right, let's start with Luke. You go first.
My party game of the month of the year is Devil Daggers. No, it's not. So for me, it was actually down to two. And the one that won for me was probably ahead by a little bit. So I really enjoyed Never Alone. I thought that was really cool. And if this other game wasn't present, it probably would have taken it. But my party game of the month for 2017 was, without doubt, Jotun. I really loved Jotun. It was such a good game. And I think it was compounded by the fact that I was also around the same time also playing Sundered from Thunder Lotus Studios as well. And yeah, because it had a very similar art style, and I really dug what I was playing there. Just having a bit more of that. It was like having delicious cake and then having more delicious cake. So it was a perfect storm for me, and I really enjoy both games. So,
Cake for everybody.
yeah, that was the Viking themed adventure game, sort of heading into the after death underworld. I guess a lot of the sort of post mortem mythology. Helheim, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, there's been a few games this year that have sort of explored those areas, like Hellblade being another one. But yeah, Jotun, very good. Enjoy.
Post life afterworld.
I don't know.
Good job.
Start your own religion, Luke. Quick.
Yeah.
He's going to be a prophet, people. He's going to be a prophet. All right. I think Jem and I might have something similar, so I'm going to get Ollie to go first.
Okay. So I'll do my runners up first. I love the shit out of Antichamber. I make no secret about that. Now, the only reason these two games didn't win, so Witcher and Golf with Your Friends I'm putting next to each other, mostly because I love playing with you guys and all our friends so much with these games. These games, oh my god, so much fun with friends. If you don't have any friends, not so great.
One
And
of
so,
my
shit out
favorite
of me.
multiplayer moments of the year was probably listening to Mimo playing golf with your friends. That was quite annoying.
fantastic. Hands down, fantastic. But for me, that sigh says everything. Make sure we bump the audio on that sigh.
Oh, dear.
But for me, my pick actually goes to Pit People.
Ooh.
Oh.
Reason being, it's a really cool game. It's not my usual style of game. I'm not a huge team management strategy style game person, but the artwork is adorable. The narration is fucking hilarious, for lack of a better term. It's a single player game that you can also then conveniently play multiplayer. And so it just wins on all fronts as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, and it just felt really polished. It was funsy enough without being super serious. It was just good. I really enjoyed Pit People.
All right. Jamwa, it is all you.
I feel like I'm gonna. Oh, I don't think we're gonna have the same choice, but also, I had trouble choosing between like 5.
Yeah, same.
Oh, wow.
I'm pretty sure, for the reasons Ollie said, that Witcher is my standout for this year. It was.
You loved that game.
Yeah, I really did.
She got a witch cackle on. It was fantastic.
I am. I love that we had so many friends playing it, and they were playing it in different ways. Like, you'd have Al, who was always trying to be the biggest object for the longest amount of time. And then you had
so good.
me running around as a gramophone as much as possible.
Oh, just
Like an
I
brilliant.
idiot.
love that gramophone.
And
Gotta
other people.
love the panic change. Uh-oh.
Yes. I'm a ladder. Oh, shit.
I'm a table.
It's such a cute game. It's a really nice, polished version of Gary's mod. What you call it?
Prop hunt.
With some really cool levels. Like, the levels are well designed, and the fact that they've done such a good job at shuffling the props around each time you play, it means it's really hard to pick and choose or figure out without, throwing your potatoes and your chickens.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was delightful. I had so much fun playing with friends, and I hope we keep playing that every now and then forever, because it's neat. And, fun, quick games, and best played in big groups because people are idiots and they make you laugh.
Yeah.
Who does
All
love
right.
flying
Well-
cheese?
Jam and I didn't pick the same thing, but
Surprise!
Witcher is on my notable mentions, mostly because I greatly enjoyed being things and then making puns about what I was to give people hints about what I was. That I enjoyed that very much, and the panic change. That time that I was a snowman and I had a perfect position, and I'm like, I'm just going to move ever so slightly, and then I panicked into a tree, into a table, into a right in front of Jam. So, some fun moments, and also golf with your friends, and for the same reason that Ollie said, like both of those games are fun because of our hectic, insane group of people, and nothing that I said on Golf and Friends was said intentionally, with the exception of one thing. And
yet they were all so
and
good.
yet I just don't think, I do not connect brain to mouth quite often when we're playing games. So whoops, and you're welcome. But two of mine, I have a draw. I can't help it.
Ooh.
I have a draw. So first of my draw is Never Alone. because that game was wonderful. And it's one of the games that, even though it was a game of the month, I finished it as a game of the month, which is a big effing deal. Like, that does not happen a lot. And also, I got to a stage in that game where I had to finish it. Like, I was racing towards the end. I wanted to finish it. And that doesn't happen to me very often. So, but the other one that they drew with was Pit People, because Butterfingers.
Whoops.
Whoopsies. The humble blueberry farmer that we helped take over the world. Again, it's fun because we got to play with each other, and we had some really brutal, like, all-out death matches with everybody. And there's just obscure. You can wear a cake, have a cake as a shield, and everything else. I just love it. It's mania, and it's on my number one because I think we'll play that forever and a day now that we own it. I mean, it's not full release even yet, so
that's supposed to be soon, I think.
To set it. Yeah, it is. It's early next year, I believe. But yeah, I really enjoyed playing that game for all the reasons that Ollie said, because it's fantastic and wonderful and weird and everything else. So there you go. It was a good little stable of games that we had as party game of the month this year.
Yeah, some good
More
stuff.
to
So
come next year.
hopefully people keep giving us good ones to add to the list and roll up. That'd be awesome. Yeah.
Standard has been set, audience.
It's pretty damn high.
All right, well, let's kick off into the final big one then, and we are actually going to list 1, 2, and 3 for this one, because otherwise I think it'd be a little bit disingenuous to how good a year it's been. So it's time for our favourite game of the year. Now, I'm going to do this one a little differently. Rather than picking people who are going to go in order, I think to make it fair to all of us, I've actually got our names, which I'm going to throw into a hat. I'm going to draw them out randomly to see who goes when. So
I don't believe you. I can't see you. I can't verify this.
you're just going to have to trust me.
Can't trust you.
No trust.
So I have 4 names. I'm going to draw one out randomly. And first up is... It's Mimo. Go for it.
Oh, I was going to say my own name. That would have been super cool. All right, so my top 3, starting from number 3. Need a cool graphic, even though it's a podcast. Number 3 would be Cuphead, and it was tough. It inched out Persona 5 just because it's adorable, and I was waiting for it for a really long time. So, and I haven't played an awful lot of it, but I'm actually really keen to give it a red hot go now that I've got some holidays coming up, and it's really different, and I love it. Number 2 is What Remains of Edith Finch, just because I absolutely adore that game, and it breaks my heart not to put it in number 1. It is easily one of will be like a life. If someone asked me in like 20 years time, like, what's the best game you've ever played, like, that one's always going to stick in my mind. It's really, really good. It's going to take a lot to pip that. But my favorite game of the year has to be Horizon Zero Dawn. And it's boring because I think I probably already said it multiple times during this year on the podcast. I was waiting for something else to pip it, but nothing ever quite did. It's a AAA title that I finished, which is a very short list. And I just loved it. I thought the story was great. I thought it looked beautiful. I thought the soundtrack was great. The mechanics on it were accessible, but also different. Like, I just played Tomb Raider just beforehand, and I was really worried they were going to be super similar. And they definitely do have some similarities, but it seems to have its own life and its own sort of direction that it's going on. And I mean, if you've not played it all the way through, I'm not going to spoil it for you, but the story is poignant, to say the least. And I really enjoyed it. So it was a nice little, enjoyable game. Quite a lot of hours of my time went into it. And my favourite is definitely Aloy. So there you go.
You need to check out the DLC at some point when you get some time.
I do. Yeah. I need to finish Persona 5 first, but yes.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, so next name out of the cup we have... It is... Oh, it's me. Okay. All right. So my picks this year... Cuphead really came close to being in the 3, because that game was just incredible as well. But at the end of the day, I had to cut it from the shortlist, unfortunately, because there were 3 that really stood out, and I was attached to for more of the year than I was with Cuphead. Number 3 is Destiny 2. So that is my number 3 spot, because it was a game that I am still not sick of, despite the huge amount of hours I've put into it. I've played it through to completion as far as the story goes on both PS4 and PC, and not gotten sick of it as a result. I've actually played 4 characters through to completion of the main story. So you could, in a sense, say that I finished the game 4 times and kept playing past that point. So that's a pretty good sign, I think. Now, this game, and I think there's a common theme here with just about all of the stuff this year, as nuts as 2017's been, there's very, very few games that are without some faults, and I think Destiny definitely falls into that category. There's a few things I could pick at it with, but I think that the sum of its parts are, greater as a whole than some of the flaws. So I enjoy the game a lot. It's just really smooth sort of playing game, quite relaxing at times. It's a great shooter. I love it. It's really good. Now, number 2 and number 1 for me, I actually decided on earlier in the year, and I had to really think about these two because they were so freaking close together for me, because they came out at a very similar time. Both of them had a lot of similar sort of attributes to them, and at the end of all of my thinking about it, the one that came out on top is largely because I found more flaws with the one that came second. So the second place for me is Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, and it kills me to say that because holy shit, that game is just one of the most amazing games I've ever played. But I loved every minute playing that game. My sons have enjoyed every minute playing that game. It's a game that we've actually enjoyed as a family, which kind of, is a unique thing for me as well. The story is incredible. The visuals are incredible. It's got their own unique style. The sound, everything, the mechanics of the game, the puzzles. It's the best of Zelda. A couple of things that sort of knocked it down slightly in my mind, though, was one is that the game did have a noticeable amount of sort of open area low spots, like where there was not a lot sort of happening or in the game. Like there's sort of big sort of blank areas that you kind of had to make your own fun and create your own action, as opposed to sort of there just being stuff everywhere. So that kind of was, a little different to the other one. But the other thing too was that there was a little bit of jank in this game that I think was, maybe not so intentional, but did kind of make the game frustrating at times. Like with the controls, accidentally picking up like a really unique and powerful weapon and throwing it into a river because you meant to like deposit it in your inventory, but instead just dropped it out of your hands. That kind of stuff was really annoying because you couldn't actually get it back. And there was just some weird stuff sort of going on with it. But it is an absolutely incredible game. If you happen to own a Wii U or a Switch, you need to play it. It is just right up there. But the game of the year for me is the same as Memo. It's Horizon Zero Dawn. And the reason for that is because it is probably as near perfect a game as I've played in the last God knows how many years, because there is so little fault I could find with this game. The visuals, spectacular. The lead character we talked all about last week, loved her. The mechanics of the game. The combat in this game was so fun. Like, I didn't get sick of it. I think that the game offered a lot more ways to solve problems than maybe there ended up being, because you definitely find your favorites as far as the way you approach fights and sort of whether you favor stealth over sort of balls out combat. But I really didn't care. I thought that it sort of matched what you wanted to do quite well, and you could find your own sort of swing with it. The story was great. DLC's been really good. Just the design of all the sets, and it's its own thing too. Like, I think Zelda was trying to be a Zelda game within a universe of Zelda games. Horizon Zero Dawn was the first of its kind. It was unique. It was something that we hadn't really seen before in that way. So I think it really stands out on its own. And I love that game so much. It's my highlight for 2017 for sure. So that's me. All right, moving on. Second last two, we have Jam. Go for it.
Hola. I have a 3-way tie.
No.
Jesus.
I can't pick, guys.
You have to
You have to pick.
No,
Come on.
you can't make me.
This is the final category. You have to pick.
No.
I'm usually on your side, Jam, but I had to pick, and it nearly killed me.
Okay.
So
It's what remains of Persona Dawn.
Number 5.
Yep.
Jam, you have to pick one.
There you go.
You have to
There
pick
you
one.
go. Okay. If I had to, it would be Horizon Zero Dawn. It would inch out in front, and I haven't even finished it
Friendships.
because photo mode.
Jeez.
True. Yeah.
No,
Edith
Maybe
Finch,
went
get
on a
on that.
world tour. Yeah.
just Edith Finch blew me away. Persona 5 blew me away, and Horizon Zero Dawn is just fantastic. And I'm sure, had I finished it yet, it would categorically be in front. They were all very different games with incredibly unique styles in their own way, and I was surprised and stunned and absolutely adored each of them. But yeah, if I had to, Horizon Zero Dawn, just because I could get lost in the world repeatedly to the point where I still haven't finished the story, because every time I log in, I just start walking through the ruins and the trees, looking for cool stuff, taking photos. It's so amazing. It's so stunning. On my TV, on my PS4 Pro, it's freaking exquisite. I just stand there and watch the wind blowing leaves and bugs and watching a storm roll in.
Jam, I will say
You
your,
can do
your
that
stat
in real
happiness
life,
of this
Jam.
game actually added to my enjoyment of it during the year as well. So thank you for that.
Cool.
Yeah, ditto.
yes,
It was my
really
screensaver for the
difficult.
longest time.
I found it very, very difficult to choose between the three. I did not want to rank them at all. They're all remarkable, and it hurts.
All right.
All right.
The lucky last, Ollie. Let us have it. What do you
Mr.
think?
Controversy coming out at you. All right, so my third place is What Remains of Edith Finch.
It made
coming
my
in
top
third.
3.
It did make top 3, and like I said, I'm a huge fan of narratives in game, and when you can synchronize the game mechanics, make them unique, and mirror the narrative with your game mechanics, you're good. You're done. I don't care what the story is. I don't care what anything else is. You've won as far as delivering a good game is concerned. If you're a
That
narrative
makes
game,
me so happy.
that and I really love how yes, the overall tone is a bit on the depressing side. Let's be honest, but the overall message is a really hopeful, happy message, and I think it's a very important message that a lot more people need to hear. And I think it's a very good
experience.
platform for it. Yeah.
And even the credits are cool.
Yeah.
Oh, every part of that game is great.
Game gets so effing deep. I had a thought about it the other day that I'll have to talk to you about later about the house, the architecture of the house, and what it means to the greater story. Anyway,
No, that's fair.
I fucking love
And
it.
yet, my only regret with this game is silly not playing it sooner. It's like Critical
I
Role with
begged
me and
you.
Nemo.
I
She's like,
begged you.
She's like, watch Critical Role, and then 6 months later, so
no.
all these
Before
plot
that
points.
was like, well, I just don't think I'll enjoy it, or I've watched a bit of it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about it.
Ollie, don't you think it worked
Yeah.
out well, though, that you played it at the same time as the rest of us so that we're all able to contribute to that conversation at the same time?
I mean, not for Memo, but yes, for
Poor
the rest of us,
Memo.
I agree.
Think of poor Memo. I
was the
knew you'd
scout.
all love it.
Won't someone think of the Memo?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's third place for me. Second place for me is Horizon Zero Dawn.
Ooh.
I put it in second.
Didn't clean sweep it.
100% no. No, it didn't clean sweep. I had a couple of minor issues with this game. I should say that. The issues I had is nitpicking. It is me nitpicking. There is no major faults in this game, as far as I'm concerned. It was a little bit annoying going from one big giant open world thing when I was doing Breath of the Wild to another big giant open world thing. So I think I had a little bit of open world fatigue when I started playing it. And that's fine. But the fact that I enjoyed it, I went in going, oh, why the fuck are there stupid robot dinosaurs? There better be a good reason for this. And the game was like, here's a okay to goodish reason. I'm like, sold. You done good.
I had that. I remember having that conversation with you, Ollie.
I know. I was like, when I was playing the demo of it, I'm like, why the fuck are there giant robots? This makes no fucking sense. What the shit? And now it's like, oh, okay, that's a good story. Any story where you can pull off giant robots in a post-apoc setting, you're great. You're golden.
You heard it first
So again,
here, kids.
big fan. Yeah. So my game of the year, and Luke probably guessed this one, is Resident Evil 7.
Yeah.
Resident Evil 7 gets it for me. One, because I'm secretly a bit of a Resident Evil fan. I don't make much point of it, but I have actually played a fair few Resident Evil games. And this game was great. From the opening demos that we got to play in the house to actually getting the full game proper, it is so atmospheric. It has all the staples of a Resident Evil game. It characterizes, or caricatures, yeah, that's the word I'm looking for, other Resident Evil games and the mechanics in Resident Evil games. There's the puzzles, there's the keys, there's the really cool convoluted boss fights at times. And it does, for the most part, you know how when you're playing a horror game or a horror action game where you have shoots, it goes, yep, you're getting ammo, you're getting stuff, cool, yep, and now you're a god and you're not scared anymore.
Yeah,
There's
that's a
no
problem.
fear anymore.
Yeah.
This game holds on so long to that, and even up until the very end, you're like, yep, this is actually genuinely, yep, this is hard, oh gosh, oh. And there is some great moments. And then the best part is they then introduce mini games on top of that are completely different. They're all wacky and unique, and they all still work. And you're like, this is fantastic. It's the game that just kept on giving for me. And the graphics, my God, I told you guys last week, type in Resident Evil 7 screenshots. Every single one of them is something out of a nightmare, which is fantastic. Like, that is what that game wanted to do, and it blew it out of the water. Like, it just did such a good job as far as I'm concerned with just building atmosphere, combining that with gameplay mechanics, and then putting a cool plot in as well. Like, the plot actually went a couple of places at times. I was like, fair enough. Didn't see that one coming, but that's kind of cool. Because for those of you not familiar with Resident Evil 7, there's a big umbrella corporation, they're doing nasty experiments. And then with this one, you're in this redneck's house. You're like, what's this got to do with Resident Evil 7? That's weird. And then there's a really cool explanation. And I'm like, yep, you did good, game. So it just pips Horizon for me. Like, I mean, just pips Horizon. Horizon was great. I feel like had Horizon been on PC, for me personally, because I'm not a huge console gamer, I feel like it would have pipped Resident Evil potentially. That sounds really wishy-washy, I know, but I do prefer my mouse and keyboard.
It's your preference?
It is my preference, yeah. And these are all subjective, yeah. But for me, Resident Evil I had no nitpicks with Resident Evil 7. I had nothing. I played the game. I had a giant smile on my face the entire time. Whereas Horizon, every now and then, I'm like, oh man, really? Oh, okay. I guess that works. Like some of the jumping and the inventory and stuff.
Smile on your face the whole time, isn't? Are you playing it right?
Yes, I enjoy horror games, and it's not even horror. It's more just survival.
No,
I guess.
With what I know of Ollie, this tracks.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God, I'm terrified for my life. I just love this. I love this so much.
Yeah, exactly. It's fantastic.
My hand just got cut off. This is the best time of my life.
Oh my God, look at the blood. It's pooling.
Well, there you go.
Go back to your photo mode, Jam.
Well, just before we wrap up on this segment, I just got really one quick question for all of you, and I just want to sort of get this without any explanation at all. But if there was one game that you think might have been in consideration for your game of the year that you didn't get to, what do you regret not sort of getting the chance to play? So, Jam, what do you think?
Dear. I would have to say Zelda and Nier Automata. Yeah.
That's enough. Memo, what
Probably
about you?
those two.
I was actually going to say Mario Odyssey.
Mario Odyssey, yep. Ollie, what about you?
Prey and Nier Automata for me.
Nier as well, yeah. For me, Persona's probably the big one for me, and Mario. We would have really liked to crank through those games and see what I thought. But that's all right. There's always Christmas and there's always next year. So that is pretty much it for a year. 2017 has been a year, guys. What a massive amount of cool stuff. I feel quite sated at this point. But I'm glad that we're going to get a chance to play some catch-up in the next couple of weeks. Hopefully. Fingers crossed. Maybe. We'll see.
That's the plan.
Yeah.
I'll just get lost in Minecraft again, guys.
Yeah, it'll probably happen. But that's cool. Man, and 2018 is already looking like it's going to be another one of these by the look of it, because we've got some pretty highly anticipated stuff we can talk about when we hit into to the first few episodes of next year. So we're looking forward to that. That's going to be cool. All right, well, we've run pretty long, so let's wrap things up. Ollie, take us out with how people can get in touch with us after this week. Go for it.
So you can contact us by emailing us at mail@partyloaded.com. You can Facebook us at partyloaded. We got a Twitter at partyloadedshow. Don't forget the show part. That's really important. We have a YouTube thing called Channel Endgame. So youtube.com/Channel Endgame. That's everything, because that's all that's on the list in front of me. If I missed anything, I'm sorry, but that's okay. What are we playing for the next week? Because we got the festive season coming up. Well, so that's a mixture of holidays and then lack of free time as well. It's an odd mix of things.
Maybe Mimo can tell us, because she's organising something on the weekend for us all. You got anything on the agenda?
That's a good call.
Well, it's going to be board games, probably, or IRL games, but I'm sure it'll feature heavily some Jackbox is probably going to be in there around that time. I just started playing. I'm about half an hour into the Beginner's Guide, which is sort of a highly recommended game that kept coming up in my Steam queue because I played What Remains of Edith Finch and another narrative game, and I can't remember what it was. But yeah, so I started playing that. It's weird. It's basically a guy talking about how he fell in love with a game developer and why, with the way he makes games, and you play through these weird, bizarre games, and It's weird. I'm going to see it through and see. It comes highly recommended from a lot of people in the know in games, so we'll see
I've
how
heard it
that goes.
compared to the Stanley Parable by a couple of people.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Interesting. Well, I'm going to try and crank out some Tomb Raider because now that we know that the next game's not too far off, I want to actually play Rise of the Tomb Raider through from beginning to end. So that's
that's
my
on
goal.
my list, but my
I think
list
I need to
is
start
enormous.
playing that again. Yeah. I need to finish Persona. Oh, and a little game called Ori in the Blind Forest.
We can
Actually,
help you on Saturday.
Speaking of which, if we're going to commit to doing what we said we were going to do, we've got until the end of the year, man. So how confident are you feeling?
Zero confidence.
All right.
I'm not doing it. I'm calling it now, guys. It's not going to
I
happen.
feel like you must be so close, though.
I don't think I am. I think every time I
think
think
you
I am,
are.
I'm not.
I think you're like 3/4 through.
I'm holding like a ball and I'm upside down on a roof. And if I let go of the ball, I'm no longer on the roof. That's where I am.
I don't know where the
I
fuck that
don't
is.
even remember what that means.
Yes.
Interesting. Well,
Could be expansion. Who knows?
will I finish Undertale? You have to tune into the first episode of 2018 to find out.
No,
Answers no.
no.
Jam and Ollie, what about you two?
I have a list. It is
Oh,
enormous.
go, Jam. Go.
It's depressing.
Nah.
I hope to cross off a few things, but I'm sure I'll pick up a few to
Yay.
add to it. Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were going to list things off.
No, thank God.
It's
Alright.
in a
Too long.
drawer. I don't want to look at it right now.
Oh, is this your shame list?
It's my pile of shame, and it's
Oh,
not even
right.
all of it.
Yeah, you sent a picture of that a while ago.
Yeah,
it's a bit ridiculous.
longer now.
I guess I'll close off then. I'm going to play some PUBG, test server, and then regular one when it
Yeah.
updates. Going to get some of the Holiday Destiny 2 stuff in. Hopefully get some more raiding in. Yeah. And
Now we can
then...
finish the raid. That'd be nice.
That would be really nice. I mean, it'll only take us 3 goes, so it's all good.
Getting 6
That's about
people
it.
online at the same time is
That's
the
actually the
biggest
hardest
hurdle.
part.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely.
We've had 5 for a couple of nights. It's so frustrating.
Yeah. All right, well, I think it's probably a good opportunity just to thank all of our listeners for such a great year as well. Hopefully you've joined us for the entire ride. If not, you can go back and check out any spots that you've missed. And hopefully by the topics we've covered last week and tonight, you will be able to tell that there's a lot of stuff this year that we had a good time talking about. So hopefully a bit more entertainment to dig back through our archive of past episodes and enjoy. But yeah, thanks for sticking with us if you have. And anyone who's sort of contributed by either commenting on a thread or on a YouTube post or sending us ideas for Party Game of the Month or any of that sort of stuff, thank you very much. And we really looking forward to doing it all again next year and hopefully getting in touch with a few more of you. So thank you, everybody. That's
And
it.
thanks to guests as well. People who've stood in for me or Ollie or Jam or whatever else. All our temp jams. It's been emotional. It's been real emotional.
Absolutely. Yeah, looking forward to working on some cool new guest names for next year and seeing who we can trick into coming on. It'll be a good time. Yeah. That's it. All right, well, anyway, let's call it there. We all got lots of stuff to do, games to play, sleeps to be had. Have fun. Merry Christmas. See you all next year. Thanks, everybody. Good night.
Happy New Year!
Bye, friends.
Bye.
The Party Loaded podcast is a Channel Endgame production. For this and more great gaming content, bookmark channelendgame.com.